Oklahoman Newsroom. This is an OSU update. I'm Jenny Carlson here in studio with OSU beat writer Nathan Ruiz. Nathan, it's time for a game. Thursday night, Cowboys hosting Missouri State in Stillwater, 7 o'clock start on FS1. And it's going to be a whole different in-stadium experience. And I'm not just talking about the Cowboys on the field. Yes, they lost a lot of guys, but they're doing a ton of stuff at OSU for fans and the entire, in the concourses, in the stadium. Probably the biggest change, though, is the biggest thing, that new Jumbotron. I hear it's amazing. Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen it in action yet. You know, you've seen some pictures of maybe different things being put up there, Cowboys practicing in there a few times, trying to get used to it. But it's going to be a completely different experience for OSU fans this year in Boone Pickens Stadium. Mike Gundy was talking the other day that, you know, he spent a practice out there in the stands in the west end zone, and apparently he was saying that those are the seats that OSU struggles to sell most often, but now that's the best seat in the house because you can see every play developing. You've got the head-on view of the video board, so it'll be interesting to see just kind of how that changes everything. OSU players have talked about, you know, when they've practiced out there, they've spent the first 5 plays just looking up there and trying to watch themselves. So it'll be interesting to see how that affects maybe Missouri State as a team that hasn't had the opportunity to play in front of that thing yet. Mike Gundy's expression was per capita, meaning with how close that thing is to the field, it's probably the biggest in the country. By actual size, it's the 8th largest, but when you factor in that it's maybe 30 yards from the field, it's going to be right up there with fans, with the team, right there. So I think it'll completely change the experience in Boone Pickens Stadium. It's such a change from what they had. I mean, I think it speaks to the change in that they've had to practice in there strictly to get the guys more accustomed to what that's like. That speaks volumes about how much of a change it is. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if I was playing, I would want to look up there and see myself. You know, they still have the 4 video boards, 1 in each corner. But now it's going to be completely different. Gundy was saying, I think it's 4 screens put together, and that his youngest son has talked to him. There's no way that's 4 screens, but apparently it's super smooth, high definition. The team has talked about having a movie night out there. Darian Daniels wants to do a Marvel movie marathon. They've talked about Fortnite competitions maybe. So there's a lot of talk around the team of all the different things they can use that for beyond just the in-game aspect of it. Let's not forget, though, there's a lot of other things that are going to be going on. Beer sales is something that's been talked about, written about a lot. Those will be, you can buy alcohol in the stadium. That's a change, but lots of other stuff going on, too, for Cowboy fans, right? Yeah, there's different water stations. There's a new food court. The water stations, especially with so many home games in September when it's still going to be really hot, those should be really valuable. But a new food court featuring a lot of Stillwater eateries, a lot of different, you know, national things, Freddy's, and things of that nature. So I think the whole experience, you know, has been really overshifted. There's just so many different things about Boone Pickens Stadium this year. You look at a couple years ago, they changed the spacing between seats, which lowered capacity, but really enhanced the fan experience because you got more space to move your elbows around. So I think the whole thing is going to be so different. And Mike Gundy made a point that if you're not moving forward, if you're just staying stagnant, you're risking that people aren't going to come anymore. So what it's really doing is OSU trying to continually move forward. And Assistant Director of Athletics, Chad Weiberg, Deputy Director of Athletics, has mentioned that, you know, they're not done yet. There's other things they want to do for 2019, 2020 as they continue to move Boone Pickens Stadium forward and enhance that fan experience. You know, if they'd have just done the Jumbotron, people might have thought, wow, this is unbelievable. Why did they decide to do so much at once? Was there any sort of explanation about, I mean, fans are going to love it, obviously, but to do all of that at one time is just so much stuff, Nathan. Yeah, I'm sure it's a little overwhelming for different people, but I think part of it is just the momentum that when you get one thing rolling, another thing follows. You know, when they made the announcement about the food court and the water stations and things like that, I think a lot of people assumed that beer was going to come and follow, and I know that's been in talks for a while. So it's just all these things kind of stacking upon one another. And like you mentioned, you know, if it had just been the beer, I think that would have gotten people excited. I think what they're really trying to do, maybe when you look at the overturn on this roster, you're trying to generate all these other reasons for excitement as well. Obviously, there's a lot of pieces of that OSU team that should excite fans just on the field. But I think when you can combine that aspect, a lot of mystery around this team, with a new stadium experience, I think it's just going to create a really good product for OSU fans. Okay, we'll see how it goes the first time on Thursday night. Again, 7 o'clock start for the Cowboys against Missouri State. FS1 is your network if you're not headed to Stillwater for the opener. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.